Welcome back to CityLine. I'm Phaedra Redifer filling in for Amanda. And if you watched our last segment, we are literally going to shift gears from the great race to exciting things happening down at the Foss Waterway Seaport Museum. I'm joined today with Wesley Wernhardt. He is the executive director down at the museum. Welcome, Wes.
Thank you and good morning.
Nice to see you today. Yeah. And then we have a special guest. We have Brendan Reed. You are actually the captain of Lady Washington. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So delighted. Again, this entire show today is filled with nothing but visiting with my good friends. So welcome both of you today. So Wes, I'd like to start with you. Tell us a little bit about Foss Waterway Seaport Museum. It's not just your average museum. What's going on down there?
Well, we've come a long ways in a short time, I think. The building is 119 years old. Once was one part of a mile long of wheat warehouses. In the last number of years, we've added new walls, new heat, new seismic, new lights, and have consolidated the collection and staff under one roof. And we're all geared up for a really active summer. We just finished Ocean Fest last week, 2,500 people on one day, celebrating World Ocean Day and plastics and cleanup. And looking forward to a lot of exciting things coming up this summer with Paddle and Sail and Maritime Fest, July 27th, 28th, and of course, the star, Lady Washington.
I know, so exciting. The bay just lights up when Lady Washington makes her grand entrance in the bay. And Brendan, I'm sure it's a little difficult to manage all the things going on with a vessel as majestic as she is. What is it like in the day of a life of a captain?
One of the things that's really interesting working with Grays Harbor Historical Seaport and the Lady Washington in particular is that we run a varied program. So every day is a little bit different. Every day has its own excitement. Starts out kind of like a normal day. We get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, breakfast, and immediately start doing chores just like anybody else. We have to keep the boat clean, keep the boat tidy. We do have right now 13 people living on board. So cleanliness is important. And then we start up whatever programs we're running that day. While we're here, we're doing a lot of public dockside tours. People can come on board, look around, ask questions. It's a self-guided tour. The crew is available just to answer questions, and we try and engage people with some of the operational parts of the program. Then we're doing a lot of public sales in the evenings, taking people out. Last night we had a cap full of wind. We got to go real fast. It was a good time. And yeah, so from my perspective, it's management. It's seeing all of the moving parts and making sure they're all moving the right direction.
And Wes, how did the partnership with Lady Washington happen? How did she make her way up here, and what is it doing for Tacoma and our community?
Well, Tacoma has a long history, a successful history with tall ships, major tall ship festivals. And since I've been at the seaport, we've tried to open arms to all tall ships visiting. I think sometimes a box of donuts or a box of ice cream bars and a hot day really helps. But we offer free moorage to all the tall ships coming our way in exchange for dockside tours and the opportunity to participate in public sailing. So really excited that the Lady Washington is here. I think we've had a remarkable run. Thanks to the generosity of Tacoma, we're all sold out, and we're gearing up for a return visit August 21st to August 24th with two tall ships, Lady Washington and Hawaiian Chieftain. And again, there'll be opportunities for dockside tours, free with paid admission to the seaport. And then, of course, the sailings, and this is going to be exciting. They're going to be gun battle sailings where you'll be able to choose your ship and choose your technique, and get on board and haul sails or sing shanties and participate in a gun battle. Looking forward to that. August.
I bet.
Yeah.
And Brendan, tell us a little bit about the interactions that you have with the folks who go aboard, and then what do you hope that they leave with in terms of an experience that they take with them for a long time?
Again, depending on the program, if we're doing the dockside tours, there's these moments when you see people start to put the pieces together, when they start connecting. They're like, oh, it starts out with, well, what's that thing? What's this piece? And then they start understanding how the mechanisms all go together. And I like I love seeing that moment. It's a lot of fun for me. And then when we go sailing, as Wes was saying, if people want to haul on lines, we love to get them in, get that tactile experience with it. We always try to lead a couple of sea shanties and get people involved in it. It connects you to the history, and all of the stories about sailing, all of the history of it is really the story of people in extreme situations, and there are these very human moments that come through it. And I personally really like the sea shanties because you get to see that piece of it. You see that this was just people in a unique situation doing very human things to get back to it. And yeah, the thing that I personally really hope people take away from all of this is the opportunity to see the place they live from a different angle, see the world just a little bit differently, even if just for a moment. I personally really care about getting students out on the boats because I want them to see that the world is a little bigger and more interesting than they thought it was. That there are more options, there are more things you can do than we normally would experience in our day-to-day life. If I can create a little bit of magic or a little bit of interest in something, that's a win in my book.
You are a fabulous captain, and how long have you been in this position with Lady Washington?
I'm actually new on Lady Washington. I've been with Grays Harbor Historical Seaport for the past 2 years. Actually, I was here in 2017 on the Hawaiian Chieftain, our other boat, and I've been captain on Chieftain for about a year now. I was chief mate before that. And as a training organization, we believe that variety is part of what makes you a better mariner. You have to experience a variety of different things. So they have me cross-training now on Lady. It's a different boat, different set of physics, a bunch of technical differences that I'm not going to nerd out on right now. But so I've been learning how to drive the brig as opposed to our square topsail catch. I've got a fellow on board that has been driving that boat longer than I've been sailing. And we have a really strong community within the organization to have people there just, tips and pointers to figure out the specifics, because every boat is a little bit different.
And I'm sure that anybody is able to go on for the sailing cruise and participate with that. What's it like to see the older visitors and the younger visitors oohing and aahing and asking questions? What's that like?
Oh, it's the best. Like I said, this is a thing that I've been doing this for 10 years now. And part of the reason that I do it is because I love seeing those moments. And I always make a show every time of turning off the engines when the sails start to fill. And that moment, a hush falls over the boat and you can just see everybody looking up and they're like, oh, it's happening. And it's a beautiful moment when the machine starts working and the people are hauling on the lines and they get to feel like they get to be participatory in creating this thing that happens for this instant. Usually so far while we've been here, we've been getting a good half hour, 45 minutes of decent sailing in. So they get to feel like they're a part of that. And that's just the coolest.
That is wonderful. Wes, tell us, how do we participate in this wonderful experience out on the bay?
Well, you've got to get there early because Tacoma loves this action. So luckily, both vessels are coming back in August. I would go to the website, historicalseaport.org, I believe. Mm-hmm. There's also a 1-800 number. Go to our website, Foss Waterway Seaport, and look for Lady Washington and Hawaiian Chieftain sailings. And again, don't be disappointed, because when they sailed into town last week, things sold like hotcakes, and we had to add 3 more sailings, which just shows the way Tacoma greets the people. So we also have a variety of other sailing experiences coming up at the seaport, if I may. Not as maybe dramatic, but we've got paddle, sail, and kayak opportunities in July, every Saturday in July, for $20. What can you do for $20? You get instruction, and then you get to go out in these little Walker Bay boats that are impossible to tip, thanks to our friends the Sea Scouts and Tom Rogers at his operation. We also have stand-up paddle courses, and you can do yoga if you feel so inclined. Don't forget that water is kind of nippy, so you don't want to downward dog too much. But then we also do kayaking, and our goal is to get people down to the water and experience as Brandon said so magically, the moment of aha, that we're looking at things a bit different. We've just finished an eco kayaking program with Jason Lee, where for 8 weeks we took kids off the hilltop down to the water's edge on kayaking and doing science. But then there's Maritime Fest, July 27th and 28th.
You all are so busy down there, and I know it's not just about events, but it's also rentals, and you all are a prime destination for some pretty spectacular event rental space opportunities.
Well, thank you. We'd like to say our track record is pretty good in the wedding department. Most of them are still successfully working and living together. But we do have Dance at the Dock coming up Saturday, July 13th, and we're partnered with the Tacoma Rainbow Center. All proceeds go to the Rainbow Center. Partners Catalyst, distilling companies, and also the Vault. So please don't miss that. And again, we have a number of opportunities if people like corporate meetings or corporate receptions or weddings or grads or balls. We'll do it all. Come on down.
Great. Thank you both so much. Best of luck to you, Brendan. Thank you for bringing Lady Washington here to Tacoma. We'll be looking out for all of you out on the water. Wes, great job down there. Thanks. I'm going to turn it back over to Kareem Candy, who's going to close this segment out.